Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And for those of you who like these type of videos, please remember to click like down below. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. And today I thought I would address, so that people really understand where I'm coming from, one of the things that comes up a lot in the comments of people say, Jason, you're violating your own rules. You're promoting things that violate your rules. Other people are saying, hey, you're flip-flopping. Because my whole style of training and everything else has kind of evolved dramatically in the last year, quite dramatically. And a lot of it has to do with me stepping back and saying, look, we should not be dogmatic with something as dynamic as strength and conditioning. And particularly those of us who are bridging into our own new territory. In my case, I was a formerly medically disabled, sick in bed dude in my 30s who had to get back up, train again. I'm now in my 40s and I'm trying to become an elite lifter and do so injury free. Okay, I don't have room for hard dogmatic rules that are going to slow my progress. I just don't. I can't. I don't have that luxury, right? I have to find out what works and do it correctly at all times. I have to. The same thing. I have clients. I have a pretty good number of clients at this point who are paying me their hard-earned money to give them results. All right, my paying clients don't need me to give them a bunch of hard, fast, dogmatic rules. My clients need me to give them results, period, through any means necessary, right? They're paying for a service. They're not paying for me to preach to them. So when you look at things from that perspective, we have to be willing to not only take on but understand new information. And what people need to remember, I've given a lot of rules in the past and things that I would describe them better as guidelines. And a lot of them are phenomenal guidelines for the novice lifter, which most people out there are still novice lifters, right? Most of you are still novice lifters. And novice lifters, you have no business trying to enter any sort of flow state on some sort of conjugate periodization. Some of the stuff I do and some other people do. You probably have no business doing that. You need to stick to those guidelines. Instead of saying rules, let's just call them their guidelines. And a lot of them are good guidelines. Pause on your bench press. Stick to mostly basic exercises and progressive overload. Right? Probably should train full body for most novices. Probably shouldn't be doing a bro split. I mean, these are good guidelines. They're great guidelines. A lot of this stuff is. But you have to understand that that's what they are. And I understand that now. And for me, it's a case of evolving and willing to look at different things and say, you know, I've got a lot of stuff right in the past, but I didn't get everything right. I've got some stuff wrong. I got some stuff wrong. And I have to adapt because I can't afford not to adapt. I can't afford to not use tools that work because I want to be stubborn. Right? I don't care whether it's using bands and chains. I don't care whether it's the sumo deadlift and so on and so forth. We have to look at what works. And I feel that for me, because I've taken on all this information for decades and decades, it was basically a case of when in the last year I started reaching my own epiphany and my own personal growth. My own ability to admit that I'm wrong to myself. It's not just about admitting you're wrong to other people. It's about admitting you're wrong to yourself on something. Because if we can't personally accept that maybe we get stuff wrong, we don't grow. We do not grow as people. In any endeavor, it doesn't matter, even as a human being, we don't grow till we can say, hey, I've got some stuff wrong. Man, I need to reevaluate my stance based upon the evidence. We have to. Otherwise, I mean, if someone's a narcissist or a sociopath, they probably can't do that. But for the rest of us, we have to do that. We have to be able to assess information and say, you know what, I've got to reconsider some things. Maybe I got some stuff wrong, God forbid, because, you know, people treat it like being wrong is the worst thing in the universe. It's not. Personal growth requires us to be able to objectively assess when we've gotten things wrong and correct it. And in my case, with the training in, I've reached a point to where I have reached what I would call a flow state in my own training. I train a large number of modalities, and I've readjusted my own philosophy. And a lot of what I was promoting, because I'm familiar with all the different coaches out there, was a lot of stuff even the starting strength guys promote. And it's great for novice lifters, don't get me wrong. That model and their coaching model for novice lifters is phenomenal. So I'm not disparaging it. It's great. I think everybody should own a copy of Starting Strength. I think that if you lift, that book should be in your library. It should be on your book, on your shelf. You need it. It's a useful, valuable resource. Everyone should have a copy. So, but a lot of their philosophy of strength being purely specific and everything else, I'm finding more and more I disagree with. And what I'm finding is that when I look at a lot of the greats who are out there, and I'm talking coaches and elite lifters who understand a lot of deep programming, it's more of this situation of saying a strong, explosive, conditioned athlete is a strong, explosive, conditioned athlete. Okay? You need to be good at everything. And if you're good at everything, you will be good at anything you undertake. In other words, it's not a case of saying, hey, you need to just be a power lifter. It's like, no, I need to be strong at everything. I need to be able to lift maximum weight on 20 different exercises. And if you can do that, you can walk over and pick any and do them. Okay, if you are very strong and explosive through a wide variety of movements and motor patterns and pathways and strength curves, and you're explosive because you train for speed strength, and you're thick because you short up your weaknesses from a hypertrophy perspective, you'd be good at anything that you try to do. In other words, you can walk into a powerlifting meet and probably win without being a power lifter. And this has been proven. Right, I'm not the first person to state this or the first person to actually walk in and prove it. There have been people who just got really strong and are good at a variety of things and compete in other things who've walked into powerlifting and crushed it and gone to the world level. Like their second meet in their entire life. Okay, Jamie Lewis is an example. So we look at a lot of these training concepts, and it is based around the fact that we do need to weave all these modalities together, and that we do need to be good at a lot of things. And we can't get caught up in pure specificity. We can't get caught up in pure specificity all the time. We need to be thinking in terms of, can I move through a variety of big lifts? Have I trained myself to be as explosive as my genetic potential allows for through a variety of movements, where everything from speed strength to band training to plyometrics and everything else comes in? Do I have any weak links from a hypertrophy perspective? Do we shore up our different muscle groups? Am I conditioned and in shape? Because that affects work capacity. That affects recovery. Are you in shape? And I don't mean bodybuilder in shape. I'm talking athlete in shape. And people don't even see all my GPP. I don't even do it on camera. I think eventually I will start filming that also one day as I get into better and better shape, so people understand when I say that I'm in shape, it's not like a joke. It's not this, oh, Blaha being delusional. Because again, people would say that, and then you guys would start watching me do the box jumps. Like, oh, never mind. I do conditioning work. And I do real conditioning work. It's not riding my bike. I don't do list cardio at all. I don't do any, none. So I do conditioning work, and it's an important part of my lifestyle. And so the point is, people are observing, and I think we're reaching a threshold to where, because people who watch my training vlogs realize this year I've slowly recompositioned. I've gotten stronger. I'm hitting more and more PRs all the time. And some of them are getting substantial, like the last big box squat. Back over 500 pounds off of a 12-inch box. Calibrated plates. And it's not me just saying it. I have other serious lifters in my comments section. And when I say serious lifters, I'm talking there's guys who've benched over 500 pounds. There's guys who are squatting 600 plus who are coming in and commenting, right? They're commenting. And also a lot of these guys talk to me in private. I've had a number of West Side guys actually talk to me in private. Like in private, they don't say anything publicly. They talk to me about what I'm doing. A number of different people, different coaches I talk with behind the scenes about what I'm doing, and they're generally supportive. Because again, it's understanding that at a certain threshold, we can't get caught up in hard, fast rules. We have to do what works. And we have to learn how to weave all these things together. we've got to be open-minded. I mean, not so open-minded that your brain falls out, but we have to be open-minded to being the best coaches that we can be, to being the best lifters that we could be. And that's the journey that I find myself on. I'm simply trying to be the best that I can at understanding these things. And I've got my training, I feel like, into what we call flow state now. And it's not always going to make sense to other people because a lot of people are behind the curve on that. And a lot of people are new to different training concepts, or we can get caught in these hard, fast, mechanical rules that you need at a certain point in your training evolution. You need these things. It's part of the growth process. Part of the growth process. And so a lot of it has to do with I've gone through my own life journey, my own spiritual journey, and my own evolution as a person. And that has to include that being applied to training, to lifting, to coaching, to all those things, because these things all carry over into others. And at a certain point, I would say to people out there who dislike me, well, if you guys dislike me for things I've done in the past, why would you be upset that I'm evolving? Evolving as a person or as a lifter or as a coach or anything else, if you don't like somebody, maybe they'll evolve into someone you do like. You should encourage that. Right? We should be encouraging that. We should be encouraging that in everybody. If there's anybody out there I don't like Jerry Ward's a perfect example. It's another reason I've just quit trashing on him. That's not helping him in any way. You know what? I might dislike the guy, but I honestly hope maybe he evolves into a better person because, at the end of the day, for all of us, if there's things that people that we don't like or things that we don't like about people, wouldn't it be better if they just evolved into a better person? Wouldn't it be better if they became a better person in some way through whatever spiritual or intellectual or personal realization that they need to? Wouldn't it be better if they became better lifters or better coaches or anything else if they're in the fitness world? Of course it is. We should want that. We should encourage that. We should encourage that in others. So at a certain point when the people say that, well, you're flip-flopping or this or that, I say, guys, I'm evolving as a lifter and a coach. That's what I'm doing. And I'm trying to do my best to always try to find out what works best, and not just what works best, but why, and can it be applied in any given situation, and knowing what situations to apply it in. That's what it comes down to, because there's a lot of good guidelines that are out there. We have to know when to break those guidelines. And we have a different tool available to us that works. We need to understand why it works and when to implement it. And it can create a lot of confusion. It can create a lot of confusion for people out there. But you know what? That's okay. Because each person is in their own path as far as what they know, when they know it, what tools that they need. And, I can't always help all of those people. Just like with anything else, I'm not perfect, I'm just human. All I can do is try to put out good information. All I can try to do is lead by my own example of what I'm doing, which I am doing every day now. I'm making my own improvements in my training, my own improvements in my body composition, and just moving forward and doing the best that I can. Just like everybody else, hopefully. And that's what I would say to a lot of people. I'm focusing more on that on myself and just encouraging other people to do the best that they can. And that's all any of us can really do. And when we deviate from that, it just turns into a negative cesspool, and it doesn't help anybody. We don't make the world a better place in any way when we do that. So guys, just do the best you can. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.